Hello and welcome to Happy Foot, Sad Foot. I'm Travis Helwig.
I'm Vince LaRosa.
I'm Darren Miller.
And boy, isn't it fun that we made the decision to watch sports with our life, right? Every day it's nice to sit down in front of the old TV and just say, how can I make myself feel a little bit worse right before bed, huh?
What will make my life worse? How can I waste this time?
Yeah, in the finite amount of time I have on planet Earth, I would like to spend as much time as possible really upset at something that I have zero control over. That's how I want to spend. And not only that, I want to record a podcast 3 to 4 times a week about the thing that makes me really upset. Look,
I mean, I'm 100% on no more Sunday soccer, just because, like, even if they had won, I don't want to deal with this before I have to go to work on Monday. Can I have a day? I just like let's do this on Saturday. I need the full day to recover. Win, lose, draw. I just don't want to do it on Sunday. So, Apple, this was a nice try. I like the thinking. You were trying to go for something. It didn't work. It's over.
Yeah. How about like Thursday?
LAFC players on the field, same thing, same note to you guys. Sorry, what were you going to say, Travis?
No, it's fine. I would just say, a deeply frustrating game to watch. We had, as they said at the end of the broadcast, 3 points. It felt like it was there for the taking. And then the last 30 minutes, as has happened in a lot of El Traficos, our players get incredibly nervy when in the lead. And it did feel to me like the minute we took out Tillman and put on Marlon, things got really shaky, whereas we felt in control before then. But, there's going to be a lot of negativity tonight, and I think a lot of it justified because of how much we could have easily took 3 points from a team that is bad right now, and instead we had to settle for one on the road. Vince, was I accurate in seeing the team seem to what were they going for at the end of the game is what I'll ask.
You were accurate, and then you changed it a little bit. So you said the last 30 minutes, which I think was accurate, which is when Joseph Paintsell came into the game. And then you said the 75th is when, so it was like, I agree with you more on the 60th. The 75th obviously feels like it because there's another change that happened. We can talk about that. Regardless of this being a rivalry or playing the Galaxy, the big question mark still remains is like, how does LAFC finish out games? And they just don't seem to have the right mentality. They don't seem to have the right intensity. They don't seem to have the right ideas. But in this game in particular, 60th minute, Joseph Paintsell comes in and the Galaxy become literally just a three-headed monster in terms of transition. They just want to go all transition. LAFC, there were some warning signs right when Paintsell came in where LAFC was not doing very well defensively in transition. So then in the 75th minute, Steve makes a change and he goes, okay, let's go 3 center backs. Those 3 center backs will line up against their 3. We'll be man-to-man. We'll have a little bit of more solidity there. And at the same time, that will mean that Bouanga doesn't have to come back on the wings. He's got help from Hollingshead. On the other side, they've got help from Palencia. It's interesting. No, not interesting is not the word. I know what you guys are thinking. It's park the bus. I just want to point out that when you go 3 in the back, you technically have less players in the back. You went from a 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3. It's not parking the bus. It is done with a purpose. It didn't work because the center backs were not good. I think Aaron Long had a poor game. I thought Eddie Segura was up and Eddie was the best of the 3, and he was up and down.
Yeah, he had a really bad beginning of the game for sure, Eddie Segura.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 big question marks I walk away from this game is like the change, I think, was the right change because it's a game in transition where you're getting beat in transition when you're playing 4-3-3. So let's get in guys that we trust. Like Marlon has been a player that you've trusted, and he comes in and doesn't do anything. Like he doesn't change the game. He doesn't help you in transition. I'm worried now about like Aaron Long playing against a physical presence, athletic presence, when you've got guys like Gabriel Peck and Paintsell. And look, they are the elite of this league, but closing out games, big question. And then these center backs, when dealing with physical, athletic, fleet-footed players that are somewhat technical are my biggest question marks leaving this game. So I don't necessarily disagree with what the idea was around the change, but the way that the players came in and the way that they reacted and the way they played was garbage. Like, it was not, I don't think at any point Steve was like, hey, could you go in the game and then like, let's be really passive with the ball and let's let them get into the feet of their best players. And then we'll pounce on them, guys. That's the plan. And also think about it. You really communicate. That plan sounds stupid just in general, but I had to explain that to you guys. Do you think he can explain that in the 75th minute with the crowd screaming and yelling? Like, I just don't think that was part of the plan. I think the players kind of shit the bed on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes both ways, right? I agree that the players just lacked the intensity that they needed to especially when Paintsel came in, we looked scared because he looked so confident and he immediately was the best player on the field. But I also do think there is an argument of like, isn't it on the coach a little bit to play guys or get guys into a mentality that they're not scared in those moments, that they are confident? Like we've talked about it before, like it really feels like we lack a leader on the field. Like Aaron Long doesn't feel like that guy. I wish it could be Hugo, but Hugo doesn't, isn't the captain. But like that Ilie presence is missing from this team that all the players trust. And it really feels like this isn't a consistent team at all. I think we are.
But even listen to what you're saying. Like you're like, isn't it on the coach? And then you immediately went to being like, what players are going to figure it out?
Right.
And I agree with you. It is like the coach gives a mentality and gives an idea and he gives a framework. But you're right. Once they get on the field, who are the players that are going to step up in those moments? And I don't disagree with you what you're trying to point out in the players. There's only so much a coach can do. He can't play the game. He can't just go to them and go like, guys, be better, be braver, be this. Like, I'm sure that he's telling them those things. At the end of the day, they're the ones that have professional athletes going up head to head against them. They're the ones with the ball on the field. They're the ones dealing with the speed of play. But in saying that, I don't disagree with you. If we want to even, reel the game back, this really came down to, and I think a lot of rivalries do, just like personalities and guys in the moment. Marco Reus stepped up to the moment. Paintsel stepped up to the moment. Peck stepped up to the moment. Who from LAFC really stepped up to the moment? Bouanga did. I thought Ordaz, I want to give Ordaz high marks, man, because I thought first half, I was like, maybe it was the wrong choice. The guy's too young. He's not ready for this. He was in two moments where you're like, I just want a 9 that can score those two moments. That can he gets to the top of the box. He finishes it, because in a game like this, that's what you need. Just a guy that has personality, that has the technique, that can just do it. And then he comes in that run and that finish is exactly what you would have wanted to see in the first half. And he did it. But then now who else? Like layer in, who else do you really feel stepped up in that moment and had personality in that moment, had leadership in that moment? I'm at a loss. I really am. Like there really wasn't many guys and guys. And then on top of it, guys that you would think could maybe provide something. Marlon, I got to single him out. Just like, he could have not been in the game for all I knew with the way he came in. Like you're supposed to come in and stamp on this field and be a defender that is physical and then also can distribute the ball in transition. And you did none of those things. I thought Frankie Maya was hit or miss. And Under had a moment. Ubobisi had a moment, but not the follow through the way that some of the Galaxy guys did. And ultimately that's the difference, but you still get a draw. But that's why we felt towards the end of the game that, like, if this game went, let's say, another 10 minutes, I would have backed the Galaxy to get another goal, not LAFC.
I think we're lucky to have gotten a tie. I think that I was waiting for that. I mean, that goal got called back on what was clearly offsides, but I think we were lucky that they only scored one there. Darren, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I said, I agree. It felt like we started off the game basically handing it to them. We started off so slow and soft. We didn't show up. It goes back to what you were saying, having a leader. You need a presence of someone to be like, hey, snap the fuck out of it. And then how many games are we going to win if we start and end games like that? Like the middle chunk of games is not where you win games if that's all you're doing.
Sure.
So yeah, they looked lost out there at the very beginning and very end of that game. Everyone did. And like you said, Vince, Bouanga was, as soon as we could get him the ball, he was like, this, I don't know what games you guys are playing, but I know what to do.
Yeah, and I think, when Bouanga took a couple of shots that seemed insane, and then he made one of them, right? So you can't get mad when he does that. Martinez took some shots that seemed insane and were insane, right? Like where he's just wailing from Bouanga distance, and he doesn't, he hits that one every 20 times, one every 30 times.
Right.
Ordaz, I thought, while he scored that really great goal, was pretty tentative in a lot of the first half. Like there were moments where he made stupid choices. I think they seemed nervous for this game. And this always happens in El Tráfico. And it feels always like no matter how bad the Galaxy are, and they've historically been worse than us every single year we've played them, no matter how bad they are geared up for this game as much as their fans are. And it does feel like LAFC, under Bob Bradley as well as under Steve Cherundolo, always seem to be way more scared than the team we're playing. And I don't know what it is. It just feels like they get in their own head about the storyline of the thing.
I think both. It's like we definitely knew we weren't going to get the same Galaxy team that everyone else got to play so far this year.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
We talked about it. Yeah.
Yes, and so the best version of the Galaxy showed up, but at the same time, they weren't showing us anything that was like anywhere near as confusing as the players seemed to think it was. Like they seemed baffled by what wasn't rocket science. Like they weren't doing anything particularly impressive. We should have been able to handle it.
This is a good comment from Joel, because I do think we've been remarkably negative to start the show for a tie on the road at El Tráfico.
It's frustrating.
I mean, it's how we're feeling, right? It's a game we should have won, and I think everyone is justified in feeling bummed out tonight. Joel says, happy foot 2 golazos tonight. I think that's the clear thing that we could take away from this. Bouanga hits maybe his best goal of the year, one of his best for the team, certainly one of his best in El Tráfico, like truly unbelievable shot. And then Ordaz hits one of his best. Ordaz just, when he's good, is really good. It's just sometimes he's not there. Outside of those two moments, I thought offensively we were not clinical in times when we could have been clinical. We just seemed sloppy. I don't know. It just was a from start to finish pretty messy performance. Would that be accurate, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the technical players that you want the ball on their feet for the opposing team were better. Like the Royces, the Pecks, the Paintsills were better. Bouanga was pretty good, although I think he faded. Ordaz had a moment, and then from there, there's a big drop-off. And that's how the game ends up this way, because I do think that they're at 2-1, there are moments where there's openings and there's the ability to get a third goal. It kind of felt like 2021 when LAFC were like, and not this whole year, but parts of this year, especially with the lead, feel like that, where it's like, if they can get the third goal, we're good. But if it stays 2-1, the longer it stays 2-1, this is bad. The longer it's just one goal, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. And then you make subs and they look like the right subs. Like I think Under and Abobasi look like the right subs, because one, Martinez is probably injured at that moment, but he's not really providing you much. Yes, Ordaz gets the goal, but you want like Abobasi. You want a guy that can help a little bit more, make the ball stick a little bit more, hold on to possession a little bit better. And they don't change the game. And they don't do, so it's like, this is where I have a problem with some of the back and forth that we have with people. And I understand the frustration, and ultimately Steve's the coach, so it lands on him no matter what. But when he makes a sub, he expects them to play better. You know what I mean? So yes. I don't think he tells them to go in there and is like, hey guys, and I know for sure he didn't tell them to go in there, hey guys, park the bus. That was not the plan. And you could tell that wasn't the plan. They just did not execute. And that's frustrating. And it was at times a little bit better than against Vancouver, but like the Galaxy are a much worse team than Vancouver. So I don't know how much credit I want to give them for being able to play out of pressure and create some more chances, more so than they did against Vancouver.
It does feel like anytime I see where people are coming from, right? Like it does feel like when we have those leads, we are really bad at holding the leads. We get really nervous, and we do seem to, whether or not it's the plan, regress to, oh, fuck, let's just get the ball out of there for 15 to 20 minutes. Like, it just seems like we begin to panic. We've been playing that way ever since Giorgio left, right? We just have not been solid in the back. Or at least, like, we've been solid. We just feel more nervy in those situations. We hate having a 1-goal lead, it really seems like.
I think obviously our bread and butter has always been transition, and we were able to we used to be able to manufacture transition moments that were much more orchestrated and deliberate. And now I think when we succeed in transition moments, it's a lot more like, oh, we have an opportunity, so let's take advantage of it. And so it's happening a lot less frequently. And I think it goes to what you just said. I think we don't have the like strong presence in the back end, sometimes in the midfield too, to be like, okay, we have it. Let's do the thing we're supposed to do now. Let's, like, you go there. Let's do the thing. It's not happening that often.
And
it's falling in our lap sometimes.
Yeah, and it's both sides of the ball. I want to go back to what I said about like my biggest question marks. And one of them was like, I don't know how these center backs play against athletic, technical, strong players. And Darren, to your point, you're like, oh, some of it fell on our laps and we just didn't take advantage of it. Well, so what happens when that happens? When there's a sloppy pass, when there's something that you could have done better that you didn't going forward, the ball immediately goes back at you. And especially when you have numbers forward, now you're asking your center backs to do a lot bigger of a job, a lot more of times. And it just felt like they're not going to, like, if we give the Galaxy too many chances to run at our center backs, eventually the law of averages is not going to be in our favor. So I don't necessarily think that this defense is poor per se, but some of it does come from the lack of offense and the mistakes made in offense, because now you're putting Aaron Long and all them are high up the pitch and they're going 1v1 with Galaxy players. And I would love it. Look, there's teams that like play that way. Liverpool plays that way. They have Virgil van Dijk and Konate, and they're just incredible physical specimens. They're fast. They're strong on the ball. Like, no one is going to beat them. I mean, it's not fair to compare any MLS team to Liverpool, but in terms of like level of the league and where you want to be,
not even Kansas City.
Yeah. You would think you want to have center backs that at least could play to that level in the league that they're in. And they're not. They're not at that level. They're not playing at that level. They can't play 1v1. They can defend well in the box. I think they can defend well when the ball's in front of them, but when there's space behind, they're terrified. And I want to go even farther and say that's a lot of the reason why you're seeing some of the changes. Like, Steve knows this. Whatever I'm saying to you right now, Steve knows this better than I do. He knows his defenders can't defend with space behind them and is wondering, okay, how do I not get them in situations in which this is going to happen? And the Galaxy, the game ended up that way. Steve tried to reinforce his back line to give them as much help as they could, and they fell flat. That ultimately is the story of the game.
Why don't we get to some of the super chats, because we have a bunch, and then we have a bunch of callers. I do have to probably take off somewhat soon because it is late here in New York and I have a flight in the morning. First super chat from Sam Ramirez. Let me guess, we played good ball, Dolo de Goat. Nope, I don't think we've said that at all, Sam Ramirez. Thank you so much for your super chat, though. We'll take your money for you to insult us. Thank you. Mikey with the super chat. We are not back. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mikey.
It's a fluid situation, Mikey.
Yeah, that's why the graphic has the wheel where we're so over, and then next game we're so back. If we pulled out a win this game, this would have been our best week of the year, and now it is definitely not our best week of the year. We are not back. And again, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we got a point on the road in a place that is notoriously difficult for us to play. It just, I think, is disappointing because we played so poorly against a team that is very beatable. They just showed up and we didn't.
I think somebody put that Galaxy are going to count this as a W. Okay, let them. It wasn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's still, and by the way, still isn't 14 games.
14 games winless. We're still the worst starter.
That's definitely the underlined
happy foot.
It could be a lot worse. It could be that they're still winless. We didn't fuck that up.
And one thing I do think we haven't spoken about yet is MLS gave us the week off before the Club World Cup. Now they gave us the game on Wednesday off, and they moved the other game, not the week before, but we no longer have a midweek game beforehand. Club America just got to the finals and they have to play 2 more times before they play us. So they might be a little bit more tired than we are going into that game. So just something to consider moving forward.
And by the way, when you said us, I really thought that you meant us, like the 3 of us, because I didn't want to cover that Wednesday game.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, you guys don't. It's a big game on Friday.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it."
Yeah, come on. You guys got to be on top of your game.
Jen Lindbergh, thank you for the super chat, $4.99. For my LAFC husband, tie means it's not a real sport, and then the fingernail things because I guess we're gay because we like soccer. Travis, loved from a fellow Connecticut transplant. Oh, thank you so much. I hate that your husband is a homophobe, but
You took it further than maybe he's taking.
I know it's the fingernail thing that I get that threw me.
It's because he's back on the East Coast and that just gets back into him, you know.
Yeah, I've painted my nails before. I like painting my nails. Sometimes it's nice.
I think the vibe of the nail painting emoji is agnostic. I use that all the time.
All right, next
ties mean it's not a real sport.
That's the thing that to me has more energy, iffy energy than the emoji. So I guess maybe the two together. But yeah, can't tie is a little bit like gripping the wheel pretty tight there, buddy.
But thank you, and I'm sorry about Connecticut, a terrible place for us both to grow up. Like a truly bad place that we grew up. It's okay. The Lobbing Scorchers $4.99. Thank you so much. It's rough to give the Galaxy their first win. Cool goals count.
Was it that cool? Wait. Hold on. They've been saying this in the chat a lot.
Stretch.
The guy cuts back and curls it in from like 9 yards out. It's not that cool. That happens a lot. Yeah, it's not that cool. Let's calm down with that. The dude had both shoes on, by the way.
And on this show, we're all about showing feet.
That was like there were a few of those chances just like that the Galaxy biffed. It felt a lot cooler because it was like they had like 4 chances like that earlier that was like, oh, they're definitely going to score, and then they didn't because they
I was somewhat surprised it was closer than it was, but it honestly did not seem that close. And I'll be on, and also the assistant is on the close side there. I think you got to get that right. I'm sorry, like that should never even have gotten to the point of where it was. It felt so odd that we were even doing this.
It felt really off. Even in the moment, it felt really offside. Yeah. And then watching it, I was like, it seems pretty obvious from these photos. But then there were people in the Discord that were like, no, that's clearly onside. I'm like, I don't think you know how angles work.
There was one angle,
I know it's not right online.
But the main angle of the broadcast was deceiving. It was like, it was kind of a Rorschach test. The other angle where it was like the midline was almost straight and it was a little closer. There was a huge difference between where he was.
Yeah, dude's not even in frame. And they're like, well, that might be his back foot.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if that's his back foot, he's off by a mile.
They were showing that, and it was like very clear. And then they cut to the ref leaving the screen, and that was the angle he was looking at. And it's like, okay, we're fine.
Jeff Talk brings up a good point that the Scorpion goal was almost a goal too. So,
way on a
way cooler
exponential scale, way cooler.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Lobby Scorchers. Lisa K, Prince of Van Nuys, King of Chaos, Nathan Ordaz. Yeah, just a really solid game from America's Messi, the Golden Boy. A Hafo Sappho Golden Boy. If they can,
West Coast Messi.
I hate to break it to you, his national team is El Salvador.
Yes,
technically we cannot claim him.
Okay, the almost American. Messi,
the born on American soil Messi.
Yes, the American continent.
Got it.
Hemisphere. Yeah,
Northern America. Yeah, because Argentina is an American continent as well.
Yeah. Fuck. Okay. Yeah. Northern and Central America.
Keep working with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. Let's just work with Prince of Van Nuys for now.
Prince of Van Nuys works.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, Lisa.
Thank you.
Mikey, thank you for fixing the internet, Travis. I'm in a hotel. I haven't figured out what's wrong with my home net. It has never happened before, and it just suddenly started happening when we
Oh my God. Travis, you're breaking up very slightly while talking about this. It's amazing.
This is a conspiracy.
Mikey, what are you doing? What's going on? Is this you?
Yeah. Oh, no. He's frozen.
Well, that's a good reason for me to leave. It's pretty late here, so I'm going to take off. But, you guys enjoy what the callers have to say. I'm sure it'll be really good.
Whoa. Everyone, give us your
when you put it
about
like
Travis,
that
about LAFC.
Yeah, everyone insult me instead of Vince tonight, please. Anything you
Yeah.
want to say mean to Vince, say it to me because I won't be.
First of all, I don't even have the chat on, but I don't even know what I would say that. Okay, I don't even want to get started.
Travis, get sleep.
No.
Get out of here.
Oh, wait. Jeff Talk, thank you so much for coming on. What do you want to say to me before I leave?
Travis, you got the pillow behind you. Are you doing your stretches? Because you can't just do a pillow behind you for your back. You got to do your stretches, man.
I'm trying. Look, I missed physical therapy this week to go to New York, and I'm feeling it.
It was the right call.
Dog, you're getting older, man. You got to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? I know we don't say your age anymore on the podcast. It's lower than 40, but higher than 35. But yeah, this is when your back starts going out on you, man. You sit at a desk all day. Take care of yourself. We need you. You know what I mean?
This
Okay,
is
thank
encouraging
you.
and
Thank you,
positive.
Jeff.
And I don't know what's going on right now.
I don't like this at all. This is
you don't fuck around with your health.
weird.
You don't fuck around with your back, man. And here's what happens: is people like Travis think because they're still young, they got their hair and so forth, that they can just do whatever they want with their back. See, he's got tattoos.
Yeah.
You
What
think
is
you're
that?
gonna die? You're gonna die, man. Take care of your back. Don't fuck around with this shit.
Bye, everybody.
Man.
I love you. Bye.
Bye, Travis.
Yeah.
All right. So since I'm here, I'll just stay on. You know what I mean? I know you guys need a third host for the podcast. Can we start with Riqui Puig's fit? Like his this is where Travis would be useful because he's a little fashionista guy. His suit jacket was rolling up on his shoulders every time he moved. Like he's a millionaire. He can afford a tailor, right?
Yeah.
Like what's with this guy and clothes that don't fit? It's amazing. I know he has to shop in the children's section, but like you can get stuff that fits. I just find it very strange. You know what I mean?
It's the infatuation with slim fit, Jeff. You just can't go with the slim fit all the time. You got to get proper tailoring.
That's the thing.
The shoulders are not proper.
He's got the body for a slim fit sort of thing, and he can't even pull it off. Do you know what I mean? He's not like one of these like real heavy guys that's wearing skinny jeans. He's this is the kind of fashion that should flatter his form, and he still can't pull it off.
Well, you can do slim, but you still got to get the measurements right.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And that's the thing, right? Is you think it's about expensive clothes. It's really about that tailoring. Do you know what I mean? That's really what separates the boys from the men in this sort of scenario.
That's the lesson here.
Vince, do you think it's possible that Barca shipped him out just because he was a dork? Like that's got to be like a 10% possibility.
No, it's actually the opposite. They shipped him out because he was partying too much, and he wasn't taking it serious enough.
Okay, but
that's kind of dorky for a professional soccer player.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it could be overcompensating for being a dork. You're like, I've got all the money in the world, and so guess what? I got table service for me and my boys every single night. So yeah, I guess okay, we'll agree to disagree, I guess. But yeah, one of the reasons why they shipped him out was they thought he wasn't taken serious enough.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's not a guy who looks like he's taking it seriously. You know what I mean?
Any happy Mr. Sanford?
I cannot overstate how much I reject the form of the podcast. It's just
we have to try.
I got a great bit planned for when my hat comes, my bucket hat. I feel like that's a very good idea, guys, to have a bucket hat for Dolo in, Dolo out. I bought it 10 minutes ago. Also, I forgot my code, so you guys can just individually Venmo me. I think it's $2.30 each for my 10% discount. Thank you.
Wait, each, or just we split the $2.30?
No. Each of you owe me $2.35. Yeah.
You almost said 200.
Yeah,
I didn't though.
Yeah,
it's not a flub. It's not a flub. Don't try and catch me with a flub, Dan. What is this?
I know that you almost said it because you did say half of it. That's the only reason why I know. That's by definition of flub. If we don't have to talk about it. But it's
okay, officer, you got me. Take me away. I know you're big on the blue there, Dan.
I am. Yeah.
So Vince, how many goals do you think we're gonna lose by to America? 2 or 3?
I mean, it's hard to tell. Like Travis said, they are going to play in a very important game ahead of it, and it helps that we're at home.
Right, but they do have
I don't know what to
adversary, Brian Rodriguez, who is spectacular when he gets behind people, and he's gonna live behind these guys.
Maybe if he plays. I mean, really, their guy right now is Zendejas, who plays for the U.S. national team. He's been playing out of his mind. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what to make of this LAFC team, and that's what you're getting. Like you get ups and downs. They don't seem to know how to play when they have a lead, and they're being pressed by a team that, like I said, is physically going to go straight at them. But if they get out a 2 to 3 goal lead against Club America, which they very well could, they could close out that game. I really don't know. I'm being honest. Or honestly, it could be 0-0, like for the longest time, and they go to penalties.
I would bet lots of money will not be 0-0. I think you're gonna get like Zendejas is great, and do you trust like Aaron Long to not get worked by Zendejas? Like, not me. You know what I mean? And we have no flexibility. We can't bring in everybody else because MLS can't figure out how we're supposed to use this extra transfer window that doesn't exist. How we're supposed to sign guys to contracts? What are we going to do with this extra DP spot? We got 2 guys with the DP contracts on the bench. Like, this just feels like a massive, massive, massive missed opportunity if we don't get this because we didn't prepare for it correctly. And that's just
you wouldn't get it for this game. The window doesn't count for this game.
Oh, right. It's only after, but we still don't even know that we can get it after, right?
No, I mean, they can, but you just got to fit the guys in and then they got to stay on the roster. So LAFC actually does have Darren actually sent a text to Travis and I a couple of days ago asking, like, let's just say that
without me.
Yeah, of course.
100%.
Fucked up, dude. Yeah,
but like,
I assume it's mostly about me, like most tech threads are. Anyways, keep going.
Let's just say that Griezmann is really still on the table. Let's just say we believe 12 and there's no actual agreement. Like with Under coming off, having an open DP slot, like LAFC is one of the only teams that could really make a big move. And it doesn't have to be Griezmann. Like if they have an open DP slot, then yeah, go get someone big and then they can stay on the team. But but like if you're Seattle, you're Miami, they're looking at this going like, thanks for the 10-day window. What are we going to do? Get a guy that makes 60 grand? Like, come on.
Well, but MLS can change the rules to give an extra DP spot for the season as a reward for going to Club World Cup, right? Like these are things that are possible.
No, this is something that we go back to one of our old episodes with our lawyer friend, Andrew, and he pointed out that a change to the number of DPs would take a CBA restructuring, which is not that it's not possible, but like that seems like a lot of work and something you can't just do in a week. To have to restructure a CBA, send it to the players to vote. Like that's kind of, now you're asking for a lot.
I do not find the MLS Players Union to be a particularly tough union. You know what I mean? I imagine you can get, but maybe this is me. This is just me talking. I just feels like there are options.
But I'm just giving you like, it's not as easy as, if the owners woke up tomorrow and were like, fuck it, we want extra players, they could do it. They can't unilaterally do that.
My guess would be that there are measures that they can unilaterally take because they can unilaterally raise the salary cap without the players agreeing to it, right? So there are methods within our
that makes sense because if they raise the salary cap, the players are like, yeah, we only benefit by that. But DPs don't necessarily benefit the whole player pool.
But take the DP thing off the table. Even if you gave another $800K or you change the amount that GAM counts against, like there are mechanisms that they can take without bothering the union in order to like make these teams more competitive. And the frustrating thing is like, I think we internally as LAFC have not done great to set ourselves up for this. And I also think the league's not helping, but it's a real bummer, man.
We really did not know that it existed until last week.
Right. Okay. But like we also lost to we were also in the CONCACAF Champions Cup that we also did not have a roster that was competitive enough to take us far in that. You know what I mean? Like there are very important
we would have been in it if we had beaten Leon.
No, I'm saying this year. This year we had.
This year wouldn't have mattered. But it wouldn't matter. It's not for this.
My point is, you're saying that we didn't prepare for Club World Cup. What I'm saying is we also didn't prepare for CONCACAF Champions Cup. Those are two halves of the same whole of not preparing correctly and having a team that's not good enough to win things.
They lost to a Miami team. Like they were
Jeff,
like.
What was your favorite part of the match tonight?
My favorite part, honestly, was probably making fun of Riqui Puig with my wife. I thought that was real fun.
What was your least favorite part?
God damn it! He got me, motherfucker. He got me. I don't have a least favorite.
What was the thing that you hated the most about tonight's match?
I hate it. I hate that you got me. But where's Travis to hang up with me? What is this? Why is this taking so long? The one time I want to get.
Let's move on.
You don't want to say a bad thing?
It's 9:00 on Sunday.
You don't want to say the thing.
Actually, I'm going to take it back. Let's keep going. Let's do another hour. Let's go.
No,
you don't have anything.
You've added nothing to this.
That's crazy. That was really. We are just really working the margins on that conversation, Jeff. We have some super chats to catch up on. Thank you to Von Miriam at Amirian Law. Thank you for the super chat. He says, "Happy foot." Ordaz hitting him with the Conor McGregor arm swing celebration. Sad foot. I did notice that. We haven't mentioned that yet. Thank you for bringing that up. Sad foot. Marco Reus brace. Stay positive, guys. Carson is still winless. This could have been worse. Totally agree with that. We got more super chats. Adam says, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Happy Foot, is it bigger than Riqui Puig? He's undefeated." Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know if there's any amount of is it bigger than Riqui Puig's that will make up for not winning that game, but it is a nice thought. Thank you for GTG. Thank you for the super chat, GTG Law. A sticker, I believe. They don't come through on StreamYard. We'll see you later, though.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Sam Ramirez, Happy Foot. We didn't give them the first win. Sad Foot. This Dolo team is playing Club America, the biggest game this franchise will ever play. Yeah, we did cover that a little too much, I'd say. Thank you for the super chat. Ray, thank you for the super chat. He says, came home from the fair to watch the game. Now I have diarrhea. That game was diarrhea. Happy Foot. I'm very drunk. It could have been any number of fairs. Renaissance Fair? State Fair? Daniel, thank you for the super chat. He says, Vince is right. No more Sundays. Agreed. I think we can just leave it at that, right? Yeah, fuck this. Loving Scorchers again. Check text. I sent the photo with lines. It was on. Come on. No, it wasn't. You can draw the lines wherever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Like, the lines don't do anything.
I love the draw the lines. Thanks.
Yeah. I'll draw the lines right back at a different place. You're wrong. Take your money back. Nut, thank you for the super chat. Ordaz future one-time switch.
He means from El Salvador to
the
US national
wow,
team.
we are really catching up on these.
That's deep. I don't even know how that would work. Let's not even get into that. We'll talk about that if it ever comes up.
That'd be great. Evan, thank you. Jen is my wife. To be clear, she doesn't like ties. I understand their importance. Oh, okay. Thank you for the super chat and the clarification.
Yeah. We got a good narrative going here now.
Well, this is interesting. The plot did thicken. I'll say.
Sorry, I know we have other callers, but let's just deal with this.
Ephraim, thank you for the super chat. Happy Foot, my new half scarf came in today. Amazing.
Awesome.
I cannot believe I did see a few photos of Happy Foot scarves at the game. We did not expect for those to be able to come in time for El Tráfico. I was very happy about that. Those are on sale. HappyFootSafford.com for patrons. Okay, let's get to some more callers. They've been very patient. Thank you guys for being so patient.
And Travis says only 4 scarves left. 4.
Is that true?
You heard
my God.
Right.
Get in there. Sebastian, it says are you on? You're here. Hello. Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
I can.
What's going on?
I hear you. Nothing much.
Happy Foot, Sad Foots. I don't know if you've been listening. Anything to add?
Maybe our strategy for the America game.
Okay.
What would you like
to be? I don't know. It's just do not park the bus. We have to keep attacking. We can't just be defending.
Yeah, I think that was we definitely took our foot off the gas and took a little
that's
bit
what I was gonna say.
To put our foot on the gas.
Our foot off the gas. That's what I keep saying.
There's I think a sense of urgency that we would all like to see for 90 minutes that we're not seeing. Anything from the match that you want to throw out there?
I didn't like Lloris's positioning for the free kick.
Oh, interesting. They were actually talking about on the broadcast that he was yelling at Aaron Long, and I can't remember who else to change their positioning. Was it Bozy? And I was the first question I had was like, did they do the thing he was yelling at them to do? Did they make the adjustment he wanted them to make? I couldn't tell.
I think the wall was in the right place, but I don't want to speak for you, Sebastian, but I think Lloris was maybe cheating too far the opposite side and was giving a little bit too much respect. Is that what you're thinking for Lloris on that?
Yeah, I think so. He was too much to the left. He should have been center.
Maybe he was giving the wall too much respect because it went right over Aaron Long's head.
I mean, it was I will say this in terms of like
nice shot.
The trajectory was good, but to Sebastian's point, it didn't have a ton of pace on it. So if he is even just a cheated back, not even cheating, if he's even just back half a step, I think he gets to it. But he wasn't able to. It did
look awkward that he like took a second, dove, and then it like wasn't even really necessarily there yet, but still went past him.
Yeah, he almost got it. That was the thing.
Yeah, it was too close to not get it. Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us as always. Hope to see you again soon. LAFC Luke,
Hey guys,
Good to see you, man.
Look, I just gotta say, everyone's really freaking down, and like my takeaway from this game is it was like Return of the Jedi, where like the rebellion come in and they're like, we're gonna get this Death Star. It's not even operational, and the Emperor's like, ha ha ha, it's fully operational, and that's the galaxy we got tonight with like, oh look, Gabriel,
Which is what we
Peck is back.
expected too.
Right, Gabriel Peck is back. Oh look,
Yeah.
Joseph Painsel's back.
Yeah.
They've got all their people back, other than the nerd on the sideline with the suit that doesn't fit properly. But they've been in a really rough patch in large part because those two guys haven't been there. They've been injured, and then we had to face them. So like, I don't know. I mean, I look at this and yeah, would I want us to win? Yeah, of course I want us to win. I'm bummed we didn't win. But if you had told me 8 days ago, with this stretch of games going up to Vancouver, who are on fire, hosting Seattle, who are like 6 games undefeated, and then going out to Carson, where we've only ever won once in our entire history, and we'd walk away from these 3 games with 5 points, I would have been like, I'll take it. Like, I know that we're bummed with the way it went down, that we went up 2-0 in Vancouver, that we were able to come up back and go up 2-1 in Carson. But like, everyone just like, I'm just like, take a freaking breath. Like, our best seasons, we lost in Carson. In 2019, when we had that rip-roaring season, we lost in Carson. In 2022, when we won MLS Cup, we lost in Carson. So, like, I think we all just kind of have to, like, take it in a little bit of perspective here. It's a bummer. Yeah. There was a lot of rotation this week. We go off to Montreal this coming weekend, which, God willing, that will be a relatively easy warm-up game for us. And then we host America, and we've got a good chunk of time to get ready for that. So like, I think I know that we're bummed in the moments. Like, it feels like a loss, but it wasn't a loss, and it wasn't a win for them. They still haven't won a freaking game. 14 games into a 34 game season. There's only 20 games left in the regular season. They still haven't won a game. So like, everyone just take a deep freaking breath. I mean, I don't mean to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy right now because it is Sunday after 9:00. I've been stressed the heck out watching this game. I'm not happy with how it went down, but like, am I like beating myself up over it? No, because we never do well. We never do well in that stadium. Even that 3-2 win was like, hold on by your fingernails for the last 25 minutes, where it was just wave after wave after wave of pressure from them. Like, for us to be able to like hang in there, I'm bummed about the free kick that Royce got. That sucks. But like, Bouanga had an incredible goal. Ordaz came through after he clonked one early in the game. Martinez didn't look so great. Abobasi was kind of not there. Yeah, there were a lot of performances that I was just like, oh, come on, what are we doing here? And I didn't like the strategy of the subs, but like, we can second guess that now because we gave up a goal on a free kick. But we didn't give up goals in the run of play. And like, if it wasn't for a stellar free kick, we could have come away from that with the win. So I'm kind of like trying to be as zen about this on a Sunday night. Like, just everyone take a deep breath. That's all.
I am curious, like, again, with people that say they don't like the strategy or things like that, like, strategy is one thing, execution's another. Like, as we've all, like, I think we can all agree, Paintsill and Pack were almost unplayable tonight. Like, they were incredibly difficult to handle. I think they would have been incredibly difficult to handle for almost any team in the league. So what they try to do is say, like, well, let's try to put one more guy back there against them while still keeping 3 forwards up. Like, that's not that's not parking the bus. Like, there's 2 sides of the ball. I'm not, you don't have to totally agree with me, but I think like when we're arguing the things that aren't like actually happening, then we're getting sidetracked. Like, I'm still with everyone in saying, like, I don't like the way they're finishing games. I don't necessarily know that it's the strategy though. And actually that makes me more worried because regardless of what strategy you put in place, these players are still going to be on the field. I'm worried about these players. I'm worried about their mentality. Maybe some of them are too young. Maybe some of them are too cautious in the moments. Maybe they're not able to really, I mean, we saw the way they started the game. You have a Galaxy team that is basically a wounded animal. And I understand they're a wounded animal, so you don't want to back them in the corner, but like, just get after them. And I thought that LAFC was very much delegating to them and saying, like, let's see how you guys come out. How do you want to start the game? And these are the things that worry me more so than making a sub to go 3-4-3. I worry again about the individual play of these guys and the mentality. I don't necessarily think that, because I don't agree. They did not park the bus. I just simply don't agree. Just because you go 3 center backs doesn't mean you're parking the bus.
Yeah, I think to your larger point also, at least for me, I think both things can be true. Like I think you've said that as well. Like you can zoom in, and within the context of this one match, like the frustration is there and it makes sense. And then you zoom out and it's like, I remember I said on our preview episode, I won't feel like our overall momentum is that thrown off if we don't win this game. And I still do feel that way. I think all in all, in the last 5 or 6 matches, I don't know why I can't look back and think about the exact schedule, but the last chunk of games, we're on the right trajectory. And what's frustrating about this game is also what's like, you got to throw your hands up and be like, yeah, that's the team that it is that like the way they lost is the way that we knew they would lose if we knew they were going to, like the way that we knew they were going to kind of blow the game. They didn't lose, but the problems that we've had with them are the same. Like the way they blew it is the way that we were afraid they would blow it. And so like at a certain point, it's like, we don't have a world-class team this year. That's just the truth. Like we have to hope for the best for this team in reality. We don't have to be okay with it. It doesn't mean that we're okay with it if we're like realistic, but we're improving overall over the last few games, and we have a very good shot at a number of now multiple pieces of hardware. So I think all in all, we're still doing fine. Not as well as anyone would like, obviously, but very few teams are.
I just want to remind everyone, when we went to Carson last year, we went up 2-0 at halftime, and we got our asses handed to us. And and like how quickly we forget. And I appreciate what you're saying, Vince, about like needing to close out the game. You want to see a game we didn't close out, go back to Carson last year, right? Like this is not like ancient history. We have a history here of struggling in that venue over and over and over in exactly this way. And so,
but also the way we lost this, the way we struggled in this game is also the way we've been struggling in games all this season too, and not just El Tráfico.
I disagree a little bit, because like Portland, we went up there, they knocked us in the teeth. We came back and tied it 2-2. They immediately went back to 3-2, and we found a way to scratch out a point, which was the first time we'd been able to do that after being down early in the game. Like there's something that is changing now. Is it changing quickly enough? I don't know. Is it going to be good enough for us come 2 weeks from now against Club America? Who knows? Like we'll see. But honestly, the product in the field, while I am disappointed with the result, I still see the glimpses of things that we saw more clearly on Wednesday night that were less clear tonight, that give me hope that, no, we're not a world-class team. I don't know which MLS team ever has been, Darren.
Sure.
But,
I was grading on a curve.
That's a really good point.
I was grading on a curve.
But regardless, I guess I've just gotten enough used to MLS. Like you just have this constant churn, and that's by design. You never have all the great players you want in all the positions you need them. You just never do. And you never have the depth you need in order to really be able to knock it from game 1 to game 34 of the regular season, just have all things clicking the whole time. It is such a rarity. So I guess, I look at this and I'm like, we could have done it. We could have had the win. If anything, we should have had the win, but like they could have knocked it out too, right? Like they very well could have. And to me, it's just that the parts are all there, that it gives me the sense that we could still pull it out against America in 2 weeks. We could still even do a decent run in Club World Cup. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and prejudge it. I'm not going to be down about this tonight because I don't want to. But I think I'm just trying to offer a little bit of casual optimism in a moment where I'm feeling a lot of like
I agree with you.
X's and O's negativity, and I'm trying to bring the energy up a little bit.
I do agree with you. That's what I was really trying to say, is that and I think you're holding both space for both things too. Is like, yeah, I think everyone's kind of agreeing why tonight was frustrating. But I do agree with you that if you zoom out a little bit, we're still doing okay. I think, man, if we were bracing ourselves for the irony of us being their first win, and that did not happen. And if that had happened, I'd be furious. So yeah, I'm happy to walk right on that line with you.
All right, guys.
Thank you for joining us. Come back again. We've got another caller. Let's roll. Let's keep rolling. Justin W., thank you for being patient. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, I'm super zoomed in. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, first time, long time. How you guys doing today?
How's it going?
We can barely see you.
I know. I'm on a walk. I'm like super, super lights everywhere until it's actually my turn, right?
Luckily, your audio is good.
We had to say goodbye to you last time, right as the light was perfectly shining on you.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So for all the watchers out there, I'm sorry. You're not missing out much, anyways. I want to kind of disagree with what Luke is talking about.
Oh,
just a little bit. I usually love Luke's takes. Today's take might not be the time or place. A place, of course, it's the right place, but I don't know about the right time. I don't know.
Yeah, leave the place alone.
Yeah, no, place is fine. I just don't like that idea of like, okay, well, the team is not going to be the team at the end of the year, and everything's in disarray, and things are changing constantly, and it's okay, or I just don't agree with that, because then what's the point of watching the games? Yeah, I get it. Like this roster is not the set roster that we're going to take it into playoffs or whatever. I get that, but we still got to watch the games because that's sports, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think I think you're taking what he's saying further than he meant. Like, I think it's like,
I get it.
You don't have to set the bar higher than they're gonna meet.
No, but this is not the first time I've also heard this argument from other fans.
Sure.
Where it's like, hey, it's not a big deal. It's a draw. We can't win there. We haven't won there. That doesn't mean we can't. Right? Like, we shouldn't be okay with a draw. And I'm not saying he's doing that or whatever, but I'll just leave it at that. I just, what's the point then, if that's the case? Just very quickly, I think our squad is the worst squad that we've had since 2021, and I think it's pretty easy to tell. Every year since the championship year, our roster has just been worse and worse and worse. I think our quality has just dropped off tremendously. Like, the players that we try to replace are just getting worse. And so, like, I think our ceiling is just dropping. I think usually when we're like, hey guys, it's the summertime, it's okay, we'll be fine, and we have been, but I think our team has just been better. And this year, I think we should be sounding not alarm bells, but like, soon, right? Like, soon. I don't know how much better this team can get. When, again, we could change a DP, we could possibly change 2 DPs, but that's not what wins us championships, right? Championships with the rest of the team. And I don't think we could change much of that. I don't know how much better we can make our midfield without getting a DP midfielder, but I don't think we're going to do that. And I think it's just super hard to watch today's game where their DPs played like it, and ours, our one did. But like I think Talk said, we had 2 DPs on the bench, and Under should have just stayed on the bench. He didn't really do much today. And it's just kind of disheartening. Like, we shouldn't be relying on Ordaz. He's a kid. When we have Giroud, who's like getting paid $4 million a year, it's just, I don't know. It's just really disheartening. And today kind of proves it, where it just seems like, oh yeah, like their guys always step up and then ours don't. And that kind of goes, like you guys were talking about earlier, is it a coach's thing? Is it a player's thing? I'm willing to take it a step further. I think it's an institutional thing. I really do. It doesn't matter who the coach is, it seems like. It doesn't matter who the players are, it seems like. It's just the team. I don't know if it's again, I don't want to place the blame on JT, but he's the only constant. He's been our sporting director for 10 years since, we've been a thing. So it's just, okay, well, if we don't know who to blame, like, I think it's understandable to start thinking about other people. Like what's going on behind the scenes? Because they're the only constant. And I think Vince I think you should have a better understanding of what that's like. Again, I know he's not in the locker rooms. I'm pretty sure he's not that involved, but it's just, it's just kind of eyebrow raising where it just seems like,
some of it, some of it is the natural mechanisms within MLS that you're forced to do things. But I agree with you. Some of it is like, let's just point out the glaring elephant in the room. Like, you've never replaced Carlos Vela. You can't say that Bouanga was a Carlos Vela replacement because they were on the same team. And so you had Bouanga and Vela playing at high levels together. And you've now got no Vela. You've got Bouanga still playing at high level. And so you try to bring in guys that you think can play in that level. Obviously, and we've talked about this. Like, anyone gets a chance to sign Giroud, I think all 30 teams in the league are taking that chance. And it didn't work out. That can happen. Then you go out and get Under, and he's a guy that like is hot and cold, and there's no way in any world is he worth $25 million to any team, even in Europe. But like, that's the price tag that was slapped on him. So now you're like, well, he's probably going to move on too, because he hasn't even justified half of that. So yeah, I think some of the choices have been on those really high level. That's why I think I agree with you on ceiling. The really high level players never reached the heights in which you had Bouanga, Vela, you had Chicho out there. Now you have a bunch of young guys filling in those spots too. So like, you think those young guys can be good, but they're just not there yet, right? And they may not be there this season.
They might not ever be, right? Well, that's the MLS thing. They might not ever be there. But my issue too with that is, I think it goes beyond that too, where it's, our TAM signings are just not as good as they have been. Right? Like, we've never replaced Acosta. We've never really replaced Sanchez. I know Igor has been good this year, but today he was abysmal. I had it on my notes. I think he just gave the ball up, like, really, I think it was 4 or 5 times that led to just counterattacks. They put Paintsel at the 9 so they could run at him. And it was super successful. They didn't put him to the left against Valencia. So I just think it was very, I just think that when we look at our squad, it's player for player, year after year, I think the quality is getting worse. And for me, I don't think we can get out of it this year. I think we're going to have a major rebuild soon. Again, I don't know if Martinez is doing himself any favors in terms of, like, I don't see him going to Europe. I don't see it. He's good. He's talented, but like, I honestly don't. I just see him going to, Argentina or Brazil. I don't see him as this generational talent that people have been touting him as. And yeah, he has glimpses, but he's boneheaded. He doesn't listen to the coaches. He gives away cheap turnovers. He's kind of a hothead, which we all understand. But it's like you talked about with Peck, right? He's kind of playing himself out of that big move. I think Martinez is in danger of doing the same thing. So do we cut bait as soon as we can to try to get this highest value? Or do we continue to kind of ride him? And then what does that look like if he doesn't turn out to be? So it's just, I think that on the margins, things haven't been good the last couple of years. But again, I think that the DP stuff has been really bad. And that's something that we've had our whole time as a club. We have never really had all 3 clicking at the same time. So I don't know. I think I'm done talking. I know it's late for you guys. I'm sorry, but it's just one of those things where it just continues. It shouldn't be year 8 or year 9 or whatever it is, where we can't point to a year where we had all 3 guys clicking. I think that's like, what are the odds of not having 1 year? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's fair.
That's fair. That makes sense. All right, we're gonna let you go. Thank you for the insight there. I get where he's coming from. On one hand, it's like, yes, I agree with what he's saying. On the other hand, like, I can't think of another team that has solved that. That's not like a.
No one's
it's
ever
all
gonna,
gambling, right? Like,
no
some things hit, some things don't.
Yeah, and
that's not to excuse anything, but it's also like, what team has had all 3 DPs like humming?
No, he's right. No, but he is right about that. There's teams that at least have gotten real contributions from all 3. Maybe not lights out, the level, but and I think
we should have 3 DPs starting. That would be nice.
And I know that he knows it's a calculus and it's a gamble, but he's not totally wrong. Like they've put in, at the end of the day, though, you still have to look at them and say like, well, it is your job to evaluate this talent. And at a certain point, when you get too many wrong, this is what happens. But yeah, there is always that. It really is a calculus in MLS. Like you want your DPs to hit, but then you also got to supplement them with good TAM players. You also want to try to get some young players through there because you know that you're going to lose guys. And you even know that if the young players play well enough, they're going to go away right away. And then on top of it, the league punishes you for being good. You're going to have to change out guys anyways. What I'm saying is it's not easy, but I do think we have to be legit in our criticism and say like, yeah, they haven't replaced certain guys. They haven't reached the level. And ultimately his bigger point, which I agree with more than anything, because I do know how hard it is to put this together, is like the ceiling of this team is not as high as it has been. Totally like just top to bottom. I think it's a good team. I think it's a team that could be a great team, but the question marks, the number of question marks it would take to reach a great team are much higher than it's ever been. And so that I think, like he said, on the margins, we're looking at a team that on the margins is where they're going to live or die. And that's scary for fans because they want to believe that their team can win every single game they go into. And I think that LAFC could win any game they go into. Now, do I believe it? No, not necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Well, what you're saying and what he was saying too is also like the situation stretches the roster and it like thins out everything, right? You're left with this kind of like mess on your desk of like, oh, well, there's nothing sure enough to be able to replace something else and be okay. Because it's like, well, I have to fix this, but I also have to fix this. You've got like young guys who are filling bigger roles than they should have to fill. And at the same time, like the other thing is like they exposed our weaknesses, or not even exposed. They took advantage of our weaknesses. We've had more obvious weaknesses to take advantage than I can remember in recent memory.
Yeah, look,
like the path to beating us is clearer and easier than I can remember it being in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can see a progression. 2022, they went in on a lot of guys that they knew the league and they knew what their floor was like. They knew what they could expect from them. But then since then, the next season, you had to move some guys on just because of the nature of the cap. So you got a couple of young guys, and you actually kind of hit on some of those, right? Bogusz, very good. Oliveira at times, very good. Now this season, you have to move on and get even younger, and those guys you haven't hit on yet. And so, and maybe you never will, right? So what the progression is, guys that you can count on, to young guys who, they hit, now to young guys that aren't hitting, and it just keeps, it's around the margins. When the guys don't hit, that's what brings your team down.
Plus, it was very clear they were putting a lot of effort into getting Griezmann. So, like, and who knows who else? Like, it's always going to be some version of a plan B that you're actually working with, right? Like,
yeah, I guarantee there's
it's not
always,
like, this is the ideal team we wanted to put on the field.
Yeah,
at all times.
He has time to talk to other players besides Griezmann. He's not just being like,
right.
It's not like
not all eggs
agents are calling. Yeah, it's not like agents are calling. He's like, I can't speak to you. I'm in a full relationship with Griezmann.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. It's getting late. We gotta move.
Yeah, we gotta. Ryan, you've been very patient. Thank you for hanging out. Good to see you. Welcome back to the show. What's going on?
Thanks for having me on. I just want to. I think I've declared myself the head of the Timothy Tillman fan club.
Oh,
and
okay,
I am
let's do
upset
this.
about that sub, not just because it was midfielder for a defender, but like Tillman in particular. I feel like he is really central to the control we're able to have in games right now. He's not prime Atuesta where he's making that like great final pass, but the ball's going through him when we are controlling it. And he is getting the ball out of tight spaces. He's getting it passed off to one side or the other. And we lost control of that game when he disappeared. And I know Delgado, I think he already had to go because he was on a yellow, but did Igor Jesus stay in for the whole game?
He did.
I would much rather have had
that's
Tillman
the issue,
I
think.
In there and
when you could be taking him off and you're taking Tillman off, that I think that's a very
maybe
valid.
He was tired. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't totally know. Yeah, like you said, it could be. I think what they thought was you get a like for like in Frankie Amaya, who didn't quite have the game that he did against Seattle, obviously. And so that was the thinking, but we don't know. It could have been, Tillman's tiring. He kind of needs to come out of the game. He did play significant minutes against Seattle too. And he's played a lot this season. But I want to say, ultimately, I agree with you on your bigger point. I think Timothy Tillman is much more important to this team than people understand, even though he is prone to make a turnover here or there. It's really because of the places in which he receives the ball and the times at which he does it. Like, he takes a lot of responsibility on his shoulders in tight spaces, and he's going to lose some. But who else is point to me who else is stepping up in those moments and really doing it? I think Igor Jesus is trying, but he has a lot more turnovers in his ledger than I think Tillman does. But yeah, I like Timmy. I could kind of see why they did it. And yeah, you make a good point. Like, the things did change in the midfield when Timmy was there, and Amaya didn't give the same level of control that you would have wanted from him.
Yeah. But don't love a tie, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get too upset about it. This is not just the worst start in MLS history. It's the worst start in MLS history so far still. So
yep. Keeps going.
Yeah. As long as that streak keeps going, I can be happy about that. And you're right. I think the silver lining in the situation is I think it does do us well to have some of the things that Tillman does behind the scenes off the ball exposed. It helps for everyone to recognize that a little bit more, because some of the mistakes he makes are like glaring, but then you just forget about the things that he's doing that really do help kind of like keep the grip on the game. I think you're totally right about that.
All right. Well, thanks for
anything else.
See.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Always good to have him on the show. Yeah, Tillman's kind of a conundrum to me. Like, I feel like there are sometimes when he's making incredible plays and he's just like doing so well. There are sometimes where he's making like really frustrating mistakes, but I think it's like I think I have to watch what he's doing without the ball more than I am to
not really just with the ball, but just watch when he gets the ball. Like, you if he has the ball and there's 2-3 guys around him and he's successful more times than not, I would say that's good. You know what I mean? Like, he's someone's got to be that emergency outlet. Like, for the longest time it was Carlos Vela, and look, Carlos Vela's on a completely different level than Tillman, but we rarely talked about it because he would provide goals and assists, right? But his teammates would probably tell you, like, look, I know when I'm in a bad spot, I can play the ball to Carlos in any way, like any height, any speed, any angle, and he's going to keep the ball and get us out of trouble.
Yeah.
You need guys like that.
Yeah.
And it's not sexy. It doesn't show up on the score sheet. It's not fun to watch. We won't remember it really per se, because honestly, what he's doing is getting you out of one spot on the field and probably passing the ball horizontal so that you then can switch to a guy that's open, right? And we're not really going to, again, it's not going to tick in our mind like, oh, that was a great play. But I guarantee you, if you go back, there's so many moments in which he gets LAFC out of a lot of pressure in which it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. And I'm sure they did not plan on having to take Delgado out.
So I don't think so. I remember when he was starting to come out, it looked like he grabbed his leg a little bit. Like, I think guys were tired. It was a legit tough game. I mean, there's been a lot of games.
Yeah, there was a lot of physicality in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Isaiah. Welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Thank you.
Anything happy for us that we've missed so far?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Just made happy for, obviously, Ordaz put in another great shift. I just thought, I mean, my main sad foot, Pauly Martinez. It was just he's bringing the same attitude with his defensive work ethic. It's just not there. And I mean, he's been here a while now. He knows what Steve wants out of him, but I don't think his work ethic was there defensively. I thought maybe starting Abobasi was the move, and putting Ordaz out on the wing just for his, defensive work ethic was my biggest thing for him. I think Abobasi brings like a sense of like comfortability. Like, he's been in this league a while. He's played in those Cali Clásicos with San Jose. He knows what an MLS rivalry is. So I think his experience there would have definitely benefited us throughout the, obviously seeing him not when he has to park the bus and play defensive. And then just our fullbacks weren't great, I think, defensively. Ryan gets, obviously he's always a threat in the box, but defensively in the last 30 minutes, they were just a liability. I mean, you have Peck and Paintsill just waiting for a counterattack, and all I've seen was Aaron Long being isolated out there. The back line was dysfunctional, naked, really weren't gelling as one. That's all. That's what I think.
Well, I think they went with 3 center backs. I mean, look, Hollingshead didn't have a great game defensively, but in that moment that you're talking about, when they make the change to 3-4-3, I don't think that Hollingshead was meant to be there. I think at that moment, Steve's like, look, I trust you center backs. Like, you guys should be able to handle these dudes. Yeah, we don't want to leave them completely on an island, but they could not deal with the pace and physicality. And then I don't think the midfield was very good at closing down pressure. Basically, at that moment, you're telling your wingbacks, like, get pressure to the ball so that these guys can't just run in behind. And both those things didn't go very well. But I put it more on the center backs. Like, they had a really poor game when they were asked to be in moments where they had to be 1v1. And that scares you, because if you want to be a high level, really good team, you're going to have times where your center backs are going to have to be on an island, and they're going to have to play in moments because you want to attack, right? You want to have your players forward. And now I'm worried that they can't do that.
Yeah. I miss Chanel.
Yeah. I mean, he's not exactly the most physical, like, pacey presence, but he's smart. Right now I don't, I've defended Aaron Long, and I think that he generally is a good player. But in this game, did not, like, I could have gone with anybody else at this point.
I also was going to ask your point about the forwards. After last match, I liked the adults in the room. I think I would have preferred, and I was thinking this, at the start of this match, I prefer Ordaz, and especially after this match, and Martinez coming in as subs. And I like, to your point, I guess it would have been Obelbasi and Under to start. Like, I would have thought that was, I would have felt more comfortable with that at the beginning of this match. Obviously, I still feel that way now. Not that they brought anything that spectacular when they came in, but, like, them at the beginning of a match, I feel like they would have been a lot better than they were when they came in as subs. Like, I like them less as subs, and I like them more as starters. So, yeah.
I thought Under played pretty well towards the second half, trying to get us to that third goal. I mean, like I was saying in the Discord, like, his ability to, like, shift in from out wide and cut in and try to create a chance. But, I mean, there's really no one there. We don't have a pure 9 on the field. I mean, Obelbasi's kind of like, he's a hybrid in a way. Like, he's not that pure 9 where he can, like, draw in center backs. But yeah, I think we just needed a bit more maturity to start the game. And
Giroud in his prime would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I want to say, side note, I'm in San Diego right now. I want to, like, there's the amount of San Diego fans I've seen around town is, like, pretty impressive. Like, it's safe to say.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I was at the
we grew the game. We did
Outdoor
it.
Mall earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, we grew the game. There was an outdoor mall I went to earlier, and they have a San Diego FC store.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool to see, actually.
Satellite store.
You don't go, and they had, like, an LAFC store in LA, so it's pretty cool to see.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is true.
Just today alone, I've seen combined around, like, 10 hats and kits for SDFC.
Whoa.
So props to them.
They're itching for sports teams, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
so
they'll move to LA sooner or later. They're gonna play at SoFi. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
cool.
Like all
right.
San Diego teams, right? All right. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for coming by. We'll see you again soon. Good points again. We have a couple of super chats to catch up on before we head out.
Darren,
I know. It's El Tráfico, man. Mikey, he says, "Can I get a shout out to my cousin Ledesma Matas?" Shout out Ledesma.
Is this a Simpsons situation? Or did you just turn into Mo and we're saying something we shouldn't be saying? Probably.
It's not good enough for me to pronounce whatever you're trying to get me to pronounce.
That's true. Yeah, your accent's not going to really make it.
Am I accidentally saying something in Spanish that's funny?
I don't know. Move on to the next one.
All right. Thanks, Mikey. Douglas Johnson, thank you for the super chat. He says, tonight was painful, but if we win two of the 3 games in hand versus Minnesota, we are in second place. Hard to imagine, but we're still top tier of the West. Yeah. If we've learned anything from the last couple of seasons is that they're long. I'm not worried as far as, like, MLS table goes. It's hard to be worried. Like, Galaxy can still make the playoffs. That's the league we're in.
Yeah. And look, ultimately, I think we all believe, and we want to believe that this team is at a different level and they can play, they can dominate and they can be one of the truly great teams in the league. We're not seeing it, right? So
Or transfer window.
Maybe we never will, but the one thing about this league, like you said, Darren, is like, it doesn't really matter what happens now. It's going to matter what happens in the playoffs. And like, they very well, I mean, again, as much as you could probably say like, there's no chance this team will win anything. I mean, the Red Bulls were in the final last year. Like, they very well could win MLS Cup. You don't know. You simply
should have won that
know.
game too, to be fair.
You really don't know. I mean, we'll see what they're like come playoff time. I guarantee they'll be in the playoffs. But we'll have to talk then, because the playoffs are a completely different thing altogether, and that's the way the league is purposely set up.
There's only one thing left to do, Vince. We got to take a thumbnail pic.
I don't want to do this.
Okay.
I don't even know. Wait, I don't even know what I have to do.
Okay. Vince, how do you feel in this moment?
Annoyed.
Yeah. I think we got it. Thanks. All right.
Cool. Kind of knew what you were doing there, but I love it.
We'll be back with a preview of what's next. Is there a game
Montreal.
after El Tráfico, or do you just
end it? They thought about ending the season, but they figured, well, let's keep going.
What's next? What's happening?
Montreal.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Luke gave us the preview. Montreal, then rest.
Yeah.
Okay,
Luke told us. Yeah, Luke told us.
Like
maybe
Luke
we won't
said.
even do a preview. Just put out what Luke said.
Yeah.
Fastest preview ever. 3 seconds.
All right. I love you. Bye.